Mom collapsed and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Tell me where the hospital is. I'll go there right now.
That's gonna be a burden on her. And that's literally the last thing she needs right now. And it pains me to say this. Please cancel the wedding.
Family always comes before anything else. Just tell me where the hospital is, please. I want to do what I can to help her out.
I appreciate your concern, honey, but I can't tell you where she is. I'll call you as soon as her condition changes. For better or for worse. I love you. Pray for her, will you?
And then Doug hung up. I was too stunned to put down my phone. Mrs. Jennings, my darling mother-in-law, in the hospital the day before our wedding? What a catastrophe! However, 5 minutes later, something even more shocking occurred. Hey there, Naomi, honey. I'm looking forward to your wedding tomorrow. You must be so excited. Wait, what? Mrs. Jennings? I got a phone call from my mother-in-law, who was supposed to have collapsed and should be in the ER right about now. She sounded completely healthy, and not at all like someone who just collapsed. I didn't understand the situation at all. My name is Naomi Turing. Recently, my boyfriend of 5 years, Doug Jennings, proposed marriage to me. I accepted his proposal, and now we're engaged. I was frustrated at times when he didn't make up his mind to marry me, and being patient with him made things a bit difficult of a time for me. When we first started dating, he did mention there was a possibility of getting married in the end, and the subject was pretty frequent in conversation. However, as the relationship progressed, the topic of marriage, which was once enthusiastic, scarcely appeared in conversation anymore. It was as though he had no longer had any intention of getting married. I'd been patient for 5 long years, and he should have proposed to me long before, so eventually, I grew impatient, and shortly before I turned 29, I told him, I want to get married by the time I turn 30. If you can't make up your mind to get married by then, I think it's best if we break up. I think that changed everything, because barely a week later, on my 29th birthday, he proposed. He gave me a beautiful bouquet of chrysanthemums, which were my favorite flowers. It was literally the proposal I had always dreamed of. I was so happy. To be honest though, I was worried that I had rushed him into making this big decision. I was the one who pressured him to do it after all. But he had also prepared an engagement ring for me, so I thought, assuming he had decided to marry me long before he popped the question, was the best thing to do. Furthermore, I had a longing for a wedding since I was a little girl, and I even had an ideal place for my wedding. I've always loved the Hyatt Carmel Highlands down in Southern California, Doug. I think that's the best place to have our wedding.
You've been saying that a long time, hon. Should we get married there then?
Really? Are you sure?
Of course. Why not? A nice wedding is every girl's dream. Also, I actually had a look at that place online. In secret, and honestly, it looks so amazing. Should we take a trip there on our day off? See how it is on the inside?
The very next weekend, we went on that trip and saw Hyatt Carmel. It was even more dazzling than I'd imagined, and my longing to have a wonderful wedding became ever stronger. And thankfully, we decided that that was the place, and we quickly reserved a date with the people in charge. Doug helped me with the preparations, and I couldn't help but look forward to the wedding. I wanted Doug to see me in my wedding gown as a surprise on the big day, so we picked out our outfits separately. We discussed our plans together and cooperated well with the administration office in Hyatt Carmel. Things went absolutely smoothly, and before we knew it, the day before the wedding had arrived. Tomorrow was going to be the day we've been waiting for our whole lives, and I woke up to the feeling of my heart racing with exhilaration. However, things got strange pretty quickly, because when I turned on my phone to check my messages, I noticed I received a tremendous amount of calls from Doug. At first, I was a little worried that something had happened, but then I remembered that a lot of the stuff that we'd ordered for the wedding was arriving at the venue, so I assumed the calls were about that. I called Doug just in case, only to discover my fiancé talking very quickly. He sounded like he was panicking.
Finally, Naomi, you called. Mom collapsed and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
Wait, what? What do you mean? She was fine when we saw her yesterday. Did she get hurt or something?
To be honest with you, she's been sick for a long time. This morning, her condition got worse and she collapsed.
Is she going to be okay?
They're gonna keep her in the hospital for now and keep her under observation. And it pains me to say this, but could you please cancel the wedding?
I guess we should cancel, huh?
I'm so sorry, honey.
I've been very close to Mrs. Jennings, my mother-in-law, since Doug and I had been dating. We were so close that we went on a couple trips together, so I was more worried about her health than canceling the wedding entirely. I'd like to go visit her in the hospital. Can you tell me where it is?
I'm sorry, hon. I can't tell you where she is right now.
What? Why? You do realize how close Mrs. Jennings and I are, right? Even you told me she would just not shut up about how much fun she had when we went to Palm Springs with me.
She says she can't face you right now because she canceled your dream wedding. She feels ashamed and doesn't feel like she deserves your company right now.
Oh, come on. She should know better than to think bullshit like that. I'm just so worried about her, honey.
We can have that dream wedding of yours when she gets better. No problem. I said cancel, but what I meant to say was reschedule for another time, after she gets better. I don't know when the new date's gonna be, but I reckon it's gonna be at least 2 weeks, considering Mom alone. We also have our jobs to worry about, so it's a real uncertainty. I hope the administration office will understand.
Why wouldn't they? I was also about to say it would be better to say that we're postponing the wedding instead of canceling it completely.
Actually, come think of it, maybe canceling it completely is the better option. We don't know if she'll get better, or when, and we don't want Mom to feel any pressure. We want her to take her time and recover at her own pace, right?
Of course I did, and it was logical. Postponing to another date could potentially be a source of stress for Mrs. Jennings, and that would in turn cause her condition to deteriorate. I had no other choice than to agree. I was looking forward to the wedding very much, and this sudden turn of bad luck got me very depressed. I was too stunned to put down my phone after Doug hung up. Mrs. Jennings, my darling mother-in-law, in the hospital the day before our wedding? What a catastrophe! 5 minutes later, however, I received a call from someone I certainly did not expect. It was from my mother-in-law. I don't think I ever answered that phone that quickly in my life. Hey there, Naomi, my dear. Only one more day before the big day. How are you feeling? Mrs. Jennings? Are you all right? What are you on about, dear? Of course I'm all right. But enough about that. I'm looking forward to your wedding tomorrow. You must be so excited. I hadn't the faintest idea what she was saying. Why? Because I literally just found out my mother-in-law was rushed to the emergency room and now in critical condition. Despite my confusion, my mother-in-law started talking. So, get this. I dropped Doug off at Barstow Station. I thought you were coming with, but you're supposed to go separately, right? What a shame. I wanted to see your cute little face before the wedding. Maybe I'll go and pick you up right now. You don't mind, Mrs. Jennings? I was actually just thinking about leaving now, too. When I told her that, my mother-in-law sounded so happy when she said, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15. She kept her word, and 15 minutes later, she came to pick me up. And when I got in her car, I found a note inside. On the note was the name of B&B over in Nevada, Shady Lady Bed and Breakfast. Along with the note was a small booklet that looked like a travel pamphlet, with train timetables and famous sightseeing spots in Nevada. It was honestly very detailed, top-notch for a travel pamphlet. But the moment I heard Mrs. Jennings say she dropped Doug off at Barstow Station, I thought something was wrong. I don't even know why Doug took the trouble to go to Barstow. Victorville, where we live, is an hour's drive away from Los Angeles, where we can take a train to Carmel by the Sea, where our wedding was supposed to be. Barstow is practically the last place you should go to in California to head to Carmel by Sea. But if you wanted to go to Biddy, then yes, Barstow was maybe a pretty good option. I was fidgeting, even though I thought I was convinced Doug wanted me to go to Betty, Nevada. My mother-in-law was worried. "Are you okay, dear? You seem a little restless." "Oh, I'm fine, Mrs. Jennings. I'm sorry. I'm just a little uncomfortable." "Oh, that's all right. It's the day before your wedding, after all. I was a walking bundle of nerves on my wedding day. 35 years ago. I'd be more worried about you if you weren't nervous, honestly." "I suppose you're right." I don't know why I feel so calm when I talk to Mrs. Jennings. I talk with my mother-in-law about small things, but these chats meant so much to me. We talked about this, and then we headed to Barstow. I thanked her for her kindness as soon as we arrived in Barstow. I rushed onto the station platform. According to the note and the travel pamphlet, I still had time before the train was to leave. As I hurried, I caught sight of Doug, and he was walking, arm in arm, with another woman. So he literally canceled my dream wedding to go on a trip with this stupid bitch. Excuse my language. Even now, my fury still burns passionately. I let my anger take over, and I marched right in front of them before halting. "And what do you think you're doing, mister?"
Oh, and what do you think you're doing here, miss?
"I don't believe you have the right to ask that question. I'm demanding answers. I thought you were at the hospital with your mother."
Mom's condition got a lot more stable, and I'm just here to go to Las Vegas to pick up a few things for her, that's all."
"And who is this woman tagging along?"
My baby sister.
"You don't have a sister. Why the hell are you lying to me?"
I have a new sister.
"I met your entire family 2 years ago. I have to say, she's pretty big for a 2-year-old.
Well,
Doug was visibly trying so hard to find convolting lies to say to my face. I was taken aback by this disgusting side of him. The girlfriend, whom he was cheating on me with, said nothing in particular as she gazed dreamily at my fiancé's hair blowing in the breeze. Correction, she never spoke a damn word. "What the hell do you think you're going to accomplish here? You deliberately canceled the wedding to go on a trip with this girl."
I'm telling you, she's my sister. My sister-in-law, my older sister's husband's younger sister. Makes sense now?
Perhaps, but maybe you should also explain why you're walking arm in arm with someone like that. Tell me the truth. When I was questioning him on the platform, in public, a familiar voice behind me said, "Tell the truth, son, or you'll regret it." I instantly recognized it as Mrs. Jennings' voice. I turned around, and sure enough, my mother-in-law was standing there, leaning against a pole, with her arms crossed. Doug looked very surprised. I was surprised too, of course. I thought she had just dropped me off and left. And yet here she was, her posture intimidating, her eyes narrowed, her lips pursed.
I thought you went home, Mom.
I never thought it was right that I was only taking you to the station, so I went to pick Naomi up too. She'd been acting a bit strange during the whole ride, so after she went inside the station, I parked the car and went looking for her. And find her I did, along with you. And who is this young lady here? She's apparently Doug's older sister's husband's younger sister. That can't be. It's biologically impossible. Your sister is married. It's true, but her husband's a Frenchman. This lady. She can't be your sister, Doug. She obviously looks of Asian descendants. And even as she was, it's nothing short of odd that you're alone with your sister-in-law in the first place, especially since I should be in the hospital right now, don't you think? We completely backed Doug into a corner and asking all these questions that were impossible to answer with lies, but then the girls started talking. "That's enough, Dougie. Listening to you is always so much fun, because you're so funny. So I guess the cat's out of the bag. Dougie and I are dating. We're going on a pre-honeymoon trip to Betty."
Hey, wait a second.
The girls shook off Doug's attempts to stop her and started talking more and more. "We've been together for 3 years, you know, and yet you never even had a clue he was having an affair? That's honestly so hysterical. And by the way, aren't you the one having an affair with Dougie? Your wedding's been canceled without warning after all." She had the audacity to talk to me like I'm an idiot. Doug looked confused, but she never stopped, even after Doug spoke up.
Amanda, just shut up for 2 goddamn seconds.
I will not shut up, because lest we forget, you came onto me, darling. And if it means I can keep Dougie all to myself, I would do anything. Oh, is that so? Well, we're leaving. Seems like logic doesn't work on you two. You're right, dear. I don't think we'll get anywhere talking like this. Talking here, of all places, is not going to make things any easier. With that, we turned around and started to leave. But Doug stopped us and prevented us from taking another step. We pushed him aside and went home. 2 hours later, Doug came back to his parents' house.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do or say, but one thing was clear. As soon as I saw your face, I knew it had to be you. I realized that I had to make you my wife.
Don't be silly. You've been cheating on me for like 3 years. How the hell do you expect me to trust anything you say now?
Please don't say that. I'm so sorry. I regret everything.
Absolutely not. I'm gonna make sure I get compensation for breaking off the wedding and the whole engagement. And I'm gonna have to charge you for the cancellation fee of the wedding.
I can't do that. The truth is, Amanda told me she won the lottery. She said she could pay the compensation for me, and she also promised she'd take care of me. That's why I went to her in the first place. But when I asked her about it, she confessed it was all a lie. That's why the first thing I did was ditch her. I can't take care of her anymore, in any case.
For some reason, he started making a lot of loud and scummy remarks. By this point, I was completely mortified. I was ashamed I ever loved this slime bag. But Doug couldn't give less of a good goddamn, and his blabbing went on and on and on.
I'm positive you think it's a blessing that I came back for you. Because until today, you were set on marrying me. And now that I'm back, you should be pretty happy, right? Let's forget this whole misunderstanding and go on with the wedding, okay?
What's going on inside that pea brain of yours? Are you freaking kidding me? It's true. All this time, I thought I'd marry you. I wanted to marry you so much. But after today, I know I don't ever want to marry you. Make me the richest woman in the world. I still wouldn't marry you. We were arguing like this over the intercom when Mrs. Jennings stepped into the conversation. Doug, don't embarrass yourself any further than you already have. Man up and be responsible for your crimes. All you can do for Naomi now is to pay the alimony and the cancellation of the wedding. And finally, this is the most important thing. Stay away from Naomi and never make contact with her ever again. I agree, 1000%.
I'm begging you, don't say such cruel things. Naomi's all I have now.
I don't care about that. In any case, didn't that girlfriend of yours say she'd do anything to have you for her own? Are you alright with that? I wouldn't be surprised if she literally marched into your office building and told everyone about her relationship with you. She might think that if you're fired from the company, you'll go to her for help.
Oh, you can't be serious.
The only reason you canceled the wedding with me is because your beloved mother suddenly fell ill. That's the pretense of your little situation, isn't it? Then even you can understand that can't be good news.
That would undoubtedly destroy my entire career.
I could feel the panic growing in Doug's voice, and then, over the intercom, I could hear Doug's phone getting a gargantuan amount of calls and text messages.
Right then. It's over. It's frickin' over. I'm done. Finished. Sacked. Homeless. Frickin' penniless. The goddamn bitch, she really did go to my office building. My boss is calling me like crazy. It's a disaster.
Maybe you should hurry up and get to the office. You can't make up for it now, but you can alleviate your punishments by admitting you did wrong.
Oh god frickin' damn it.
I'm sure you're right, Naomi. Now, Doug, you get to the office and stop her. We successfully kicked Doug out of the house. Right afterwards, he went to the office where he met Amanda at the front door, where she was making a big deal about her relationship with Doug. Things escalated very quickly, and soon enough, the whole company found out about the affair. Doug had invited quite a few people to the wedding, lots of whom were fellow colleagues from the office. From the point of view of those who were invited, he canceled the wedding because of the affair, and not because of his mother suddenly falling ill. They were so disgusted they didn't even want to talk to him thereafter, and Doug himself, who was having an affair with that deranged Amanda, felt so ashamed about the whole situation and found himself psychologically unable to go to work. He quit the company. He had to pay compensation to me, as well as the cancellation fee, so I don't know what he was thinking when he decided to quit the company. Through lawyers, we officially broke off the engagement. I filed for demands of alimony through a lawyer, and it was later approved. I was going to get a fixed sum of compensation for his actions. Doug was out of work and couldn't pay the money, so he asked his parents for help, but of course they refused.
Mom, please, I'm begging you.
You're out of your mind. If you think I'm gonna help you pay with anything you owe to Naomi, you need psychiatric care, son. I loved her like she was my own daughter, and you frickin' betrayed her. You're a disgrace to this family, and we ask that you stay the hell away from our house. Good luck to you, Mr. Jennings. When my mother-in-law told me she kicked him out, I was so surprised and very happy. It may have been a bit inappropriate, but I gave her a high five. And then Doug went to the girl whom he was cheating on me with. Sorry, but I hear you quit your job. Then I don't want to be with you, and since I found someone else better than you, I have no use for you anymore.
That's so frickin' stupid. I'm only in this mess because of you, and you only... God damn it.
Who's so freaking stupid? Really? You're the one who decided to have an affair with me, and you cheated on your fiancé all on your own. Don't shoulder the blame onto someone else. Anyway, I'm already with someone else who, unlike you, is so awesome. So, here's where I'll say goodbye. Apparently, Amanda dumped him for someone else. Next, he actually stopped by my place.
Naomi, I've completely cut Amanda out of my life, so please, I'm begging you, let's get back together. The cancellation fee for the wedding will do halfsies. And since we'll be back together, I won't have to pay alimony. It's a win-win, right?
No. There's no going back. You're still paying alimony. No matter how much you try to redeem yourself, no matter how many times you bang on my door for forgiveness, I'll never forgive you. I don't want to see your pathetic face ever again.
Come on now, be honest with yourself. You know you want to be with me.
I think you need another reality check, Mr. Jennings. Let me make this brutally clear. I don't want to be with you. I'm sorry, but I already called the police. Now's the time to go.
You can't lie to me like that. I won't be fooled.
He didn't dare budge a single step away from the house. And yes, I really had called the police, and in the end, Doug had to be chased away by the police. I really couldn't understand what he wanted, and even now, sometime later, I still cannot comprehend his motives. But after everything was over and done with, I had a calm, easygoing life without Doug. I decided that for a while, work was more important now than meeting someone else, so I was devoting myself to my work, and eventually, I got a very nice promotion and was transferred to a branch overseas. My relationship with my mother-in-law was still very nice and precious, and when I told her I was going to transfer overseas, she hosted a farewell party for me with tears in her eyes. I'm going to go overseas to visit you. Oh my gosh, please do. I'm sure Mr. Jennings Sr. would love to come with me. I hope you don't mind. I know he's a man of very few words, but he still loves you dearly, Naomi, like you are his own daughter.
I'm gonna miss you, Naomi.
Mr. Jennings, Mrs. Jennings, even though I've already parted ways with your son, Doug, you've been so good to me. I really cannot thank you enough. I was only able to have a good time after the whole catastrophe because of you two. They both started to cry as I said what I wanted to say. I am so happy to know that I have 2 sets of parents each, and that's become a source of motivation for me to do well in my job, and in everything else. I feel very reassured about the future. Now that I'm going to work overseas, I'm going to do my best to make a fresh start. And finally, I do hope you keep this between us when I say that I'm hoping to meet someone wonderful in due time.